All right. Good morning, everybody. Andy, good morning to you. Should be a pretty good stream today. I'm going to do things a little different. Not too different, though. Keep it fresh, though. Keep it flowing. Got some pretty big news announcements today. Talk about that a little bit, and about the most important thing, which is just mindset. Mindset going into a big news event. Does it change anything? Maybe. Probably not, though. Come on in, say hello. And also let me know if you all can hear me, because I want to make sure this mic is still working. Getting into this new house and making sure there's no technical difficulties, you know what I mean? Glitch, good morning. We're going to break things down. We're going to break them down as basic and as simple as possible. If you've been following along in these streams for any amount of time, I try to do a little bit of a review at the beginning of every one. We'll look at some templates. We'll look at some things to look for every single day, every single Friday. Good stuff, Andy. Thanks. And if you've made it now to NFP Friday, non-farm payrolls, and you haven't done insane amounts of damage, I applaud you. NFP weeks are historically a little bit more difficult to trade because they behave a little crazy. A little bit more volatility comes in, and then you add in all this other stuff, this other news. But at the end of the day, if you just break it down to a few little pieces, a few very basic steps, you can remove all of the noise. Cayman, good morning. Hey, good morning. Boy, this is the longest song in the world. All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're doing well, and I hope you're having a blessed week. Let's get into it today. Get rid of this. We're going to pull up the right one, which is this one here. Make sure my face is up and out of the way. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Feel free, pause the stream, read through this. That way you know I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for educational purposes. Good deal. All right, as always, breaking things down at the beginning of the stream. Let's talk about what I'm looking for during the stream every single day, even outside of the stream, and why. And it can be broken down into a few very easy to understand and simple things. The market moves at certain times of day, specifically around market opens. That's when the volume is the highest. And that's when the market's going to move. So why would I want to trade any other time except for when the market's going to move? That's kind of the idea. Those sessions are Asia, London, and New York. Asia being 8 to 11 p.m., London 2 to 5 a.m., and New York is 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. All those times are Eastern time. You can just Google it. Looking at the times for entries and things like that, usually the market will, because the market is fractal, open an hourly bar, do certain things within that hourly bar, and then shift the bar away in the back half or the back third of that bar's time using 5 minute, 15-minute bars, and a lot of times the 1 minute the volume is varying when I move back and forth. Let me do this. I'm glad you brought that up. Maybe I can... Oh boy, we got some things falling over. Thanks for bringing it up. Is that up? I hope I don't bump this thing and make it. Is that a little bit better, TR? Good stuff. So when a 5 and a 15-minute bar starts to... Man, I got to get back on track now. So I was talking about hourly bar, the time rotations, when we're getting towards the end of an hour or the beginning of a brand new hour. Looking at the pattern that has been presented to me, looking at my entry criteria, and then going to take action based off of that. Setups over everything, using those setups, and trading the reoccurring behavior, not direction based off of what I think will happen. That's all fine and dandy. That's great. Those are fairly, easy to understand things. I want to trade at certain times of the day because that's when the markets move. I want to take entries after my entry criteria has presented at a certain time within those hourly bars because, again, that's when the market tends to move. And the most basic part of this is just how the entire market moves in general. And if you understand this, honestly, even down on the intraday time frames, things become a lot more simple and easy to understand. It becomes much more within your grasp to understand because the market is fractal and trend. Honestly, if you try to do trend analysis and all this stuff, it can become very difficult because, one time frame could be doing something and then the lower time frames are doing another thing. And it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do? You get analysis paralysis. But if you understand that the market is only ever doing three things, trending, reversing, or staying inside of a range, and you understand that those same behaviors up on a higher time frame are happening far more frequently down on a lower time frame, it'll help you capture those things a lot easier. So I've got some previous days, highs, and lows drawn up here on the screen. And you know what? You could even expand this to previous week and previous month, and you can even contract it all the way down to a 5-minute bar, a 5-minute high and a low. Maybe I'm looking for an entry, a 15-minute bar high and a 15-minute bar low. It's the same exact thing, just what time frame are you looking at and what way do you want to go about doing this? Now, looking at a previous day's high and low, this is how I'm finding the templates. This is where the idea that the market only does three things, trend, reverse, or stay in a trading range, actually becomes useful to me. And trying to find a 3-day template. So if you have a market that has broken out of a previous day's level and closed, maybe it's going to then break out and pull back. And then on the following day, maybe we're going to see a trend. Maybe the market breaks out and closes. And on the next day, we start making lower lows and lower highs, and it reverses. Obviously, trading range, right? We could just be inside of a trading range. And then sometimes the template will evolve into other things. Maybe the move isn't as great on one of these days as would have been expected. Maybe one day, we have a large range day. Maybe we're in breakout to the upside or something like that. In previous days, we have a previous day's high and low. The new day begins. We get the breakout. And then the new day opens up. You project this level across. And then we get the pullback and we get the trend. This could also maybe be or evolve into something like a first red day where maybe we have a large range day and then we have our previous day's high and low, and the day that opens, they try to go up. It can't go up and it comes back down and it closed under, basically it turned into a down closed bar, all right? A bear bar on a daily chart. But this is what it will look like on an intraday chart where it opened, it tried to go higher, closed underneath the open for that day. And then now this turns into a multi-day event where we have a large range pumping day. This is what we call A. And then plus B is the first red behavior. And then on C, you come in and I'm looking for some type of sell high opportunity. Sell the high of the day. Sometimes they'll pin down through previous day's low, pull back, and go vertical. Sometimes they'll break out of previous day's low and pull back and then go vertical. Sometimes the trade won't work out at all. It'll just go vertical to the upside. So, of course, this is not a 100% guarantee by any means. That's not what I'm trying to explain here. But it's looking for the setup and not just direction. I'm looking for the behavior. of the template and not just this is what I think is going to happen. Okay, that's very important for consistency purposes, obviously. Let's see. I'm going to get into all these different pairs. Thank you for, I see that GU, Mantis. I'll make sure to do that one for you. Okay. Now I want to talk about a different type, 3-day cycle, right? I've just described maybe some weekly template stuff, some signals. You know, the day, certain types of closes and things will signal to you what to look for the next day. And the 3-day cycle can be very similar. Maybe we're in an up moving market. We've been breaking out to the upside and trending, right? We're in a trend. And then maybe a day breaks the previous day's low at the beginning of a week or something like that. Maybe a Monday. It doesn't have to be a Monday. It could be a Tuesday. And this is at the low of the current week. So this is a lower low within the current week. And then maybe on following days, maybe the next day breaks out. All right, so this would be day 1 of the cycle. And then we have day 2 of the cycle as a breakout day. Cam, this is confusing. What do I do next? Well, I just revert back to this. All right, we're in breakout, we've closed. And then you just project this across, and it's like, okay, well, maybe if tomorrow starts making lower lows and lower highs, maybe it's a day 1, day 2, day 3 high of week reversal trade. Day 1, day 2, day 3, right? On that third day, we're at the high of the current week, which is a setup. We've started making lower lows and lower highs. I go back towards the low of the week. Maybe on day 3, we have the lower low. Sure, maybe. Or maybe it's just a reset. It could be a peak formation reset and a breakout. And then on day 3, instead of telling me, hey, market go down, right? Because the behavior that I would like to see is lower lows and lower highs. Maybe on this day, we have a previous day's high. Maybe they trigger it in Asia and pull back. London. And then New York opens up and goes vertical, which I think just happened not too long ago on the NASDAQ. I think we talked about this in the last stream. And I ended up taking this trade, which was fantastic. It went vertical very fast, very quick, very easy. So peak formation reset, breakout, pullback. Continue to trend higher if it presents, and if it presents the right way. Dang, I hope this has been useful. If it has, make sure you hit the like button. Maybe leave a comment and say thanks. I'm not looking for thank yous by any means, but just let me know, hey, this has been useful to me. I really appreciate it. We got 15 minutes to the NFP. I'm going to delete this bad boy. I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart here. I'm going to pull up some levels so we can get going on this analysis. Okay. I love it. Where did my weekly, let's try this. Weekly and daily separator. Is this what's wrong? All right, I fixed it. Look at that. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What has happened up until Wednesday, and then what has happened Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? With this, I think I'm just going to start on Wednesday because I can very clearly see the peak formation. Now, there's a lot of news going on, all right? There's it's very volatile, and it can be very easy for me to, hopefully this doesn't screw things up, get caught up in that and say, okay, well, I'm scared now because the market's volatile. Am I going to do that? No. I'm going to look at the market the same exact way. I'm going to look at a previous day's high and a previous day's low. I'm going to look for the template, and I'm going to say, this is what it's done, and this is what I should be looking for. And if it doesn't present, then it doesn't present. Now, I might size down because of how volatile things are. I'm going to size down a little bit and scale in, as I always do. But, you know, I'm not maybe going to put the same amount of contracts on as I normally would because the ticks, you know, things are moving very fast. I have to be aware of that, and I am aware of that, especially on a lot of these indexes and things. So, that being said, peak formation high on Wednesday. Okay, this was at the high of the current week. This is going to reset the 3-day cycle. Day 1. Day 1 of the 3-day cycle. Now, we've been in a down moving market. What does that mean? Does that mean that we could go back up today? Maybe. Maybe not. Probably would like to wait for that. All right, normally I'd like to see them maybe like work at the low and then go vertical, start making higher highs and higher lows. I'm just looking at the chart. That's not happening right now. So let's look for something else. All right. Or maybe like a signal day on day 2. So maybe like a first green day. And then on day 3, we go back to the high. Like that's normally better. However, we do have a day 1 of the 3-day cycle and a breakout day 1 to the downside. This is the first day where they've broken back down on Wednesday. All right. This was also a first red day in a down moving market. So a first red day in a trend instead of a first red day reversal. All right. Peak formation was made on Monday. They went up for 2 days, 2 days of higher close. And then we get the reversal, first red day, breakout day 1. And then we get the follow through a little bit yesterday on Thursday. All right, breakout day 2. Okay, now we're in breakout day 3. Project this level across. Don't need to because we're already broken out. Thursday is day 2 of the cycle. And then now today is going to be day 3. Now, yesterday, did I have a signal day? No. I just had a breakout and a very weak close. They closed at their lows. And then today, this is what I was talking about as far as like sometimes you get these breakouts. And then on the next day, what kind of variance do you want to see? They broke out a previous day's low. The previous day's low becomes the top of the box. The low of the day becomes the bottom of the box. And then they trade back up into the high. This all began in the gap time, so no trade in London, unfortunately. But you can just kind of see how this is broken down. Pop back up in a little 1, 2, 3 gone sideways. Start to make lower lows and lower highs in this little channel here, which is really cool. You get a little parabolic channel. Little false move. And then the follow through back down. Okay, all in the gap time. So let's go and get out of here. Now this is an index, so I wait till 9:30. They've came down. Big 1, 2, sideways, 3 to the low, and an engulfment now at the low of the day. What setup do I want to look for? Right now, I don't really have anything. I just have a market that has gone extremely down for a few days. What would I actually need to see? Well, do I want to take a trend trade? Would I even be willing to take a trend trade after the move has already gone so far? Probably not. It's just not something that I like to do. I don't like to chase. I would rather find a pair. For example, this is what I'm really trying to say. Day 3 reversal, maybe. You know, if we get but the only problem I would have with that is I don't have a lot of structure for my entry criteria to really do what I'd like to see. I would say that's really the only thing that would keep me from doing that, TR. And that could just be because I'm me. I'm being weird. Other people might do it differently. No worries. But what I would prefer, like what would a perfect template be? We're in a down moving market with a very weak close. In a market that is in breakout down, that has broken out a previous day's low and pulled back. That's my setup. That's the trade. That's the trade that I would want to see. And I would like to see this or have seen this at 9:30. That's what I would say would have been perfect. That would be the textbook variation. What I have down here is I'm probably trading movement. I'm no longer trading the setup that I wanted to see. So maybe this is a wash. All right, I've just gone through a bunch of details that mattered right up until I saw that it's already kind of done its thing. Okay. Excuse me. Still getting over flu or COVID or whatever I had. 3 days of breakouts. Yeah. Maybe. Left the station. Basically just moved in London. Yeah. Or in the gap. It really moved in the gap time. This is the end of London was at 2 to 5 a.m. and then 6 o'clock opens and they decide time to go. Very bearish right now. Yeah, TR, but I like to think of trend as an illusion, right? It doesn't matter how weak something is, it's going to have pullbacks, and the market will decide how large that pullback is. And there can be some really good setups in there in a big pullback. I mean, look how far down we are, right? Like, for example, the market could pull back all the way up to here and still be, technically really going down. Do I really want to guess? Or maybe, so we could sit here and speculate 100%. And you know what? It's almost good to do that because, again, this is about the mindset, right? Do I want to look for the trade today and try and guess a direction? Or do I want to wait for maybe a 3-day opportunity that would be perfect? Like, for example, so if we did have the higher high up here, and now we do have day 1 breakouts, day 2 breakouts, and then now today, yes, we absolutely have 3 days of breakouts. What if today turned into a first green day? Now, yeah, I would miss out on the initial drive back up here to get the first green day. Boo-hoo. I'll cry those tears. But now I'm looking at a maybe or possibly a much higher probability result that my first green day or my long trade is actually, the reversal trade is actually going to play out. Or even better, what if we get on Monday or something like that, or even today, right? Now, this is crazy to think we're down this low and we go back up here, but it's a thought, right? If we were to have broken out today, I would have a much higher probability or chance of looking for that template. Day 1, day 2, day 3. Day 3 turns back to day 1, but I'm looking for the setup now. Day 1, day 2, tomorrow, Monday. And then maybe day 3 to expand the range of Monday on Tuesday back up towards the high. Those are like really high probability template opportunities. Whereas today, I might just be guessing a direction, right? Pointing out the difference. Of course, everybody's more inclined to do whatever they want, and that's perfectly fine. I just want to explain my way of looking at it and thinking. 8 minutes to NFP. I'm going to try and get through. Let's do gold real quick. I've done one index. We'll do a second index real quick, and then we'll go to gold before the open of the NFP news announcement. Very similar, though. Wednesday, first red day. We had an inside. The only difference on this was that Tuesday was an inside bar. This is US 30, by the way, if you can't see that. Wednesday was the first red day, and also, well, that's really it. First red day. Then we got the gap down on Thursday and a breakout day. Very similar to the NASDAQ. We've closed in breakout, very weak. And then we've broken out and pulled back. Again, this is the setup right here. This one actually did occur in London, which is good. So let's take a look at that. I'm on a 15-minute chart right now. You get the big pop-up. 1, 2, 3. The bottom of the box becomes the top of the box. Breakout, pullback. Market only does 3 things. And then what happens down? I can already kind of tell that's going to be an M up there, which is cool. Engulfment of a bull bar here. Bars high and low. Okay, happened right here. We closed lower in that bar. So we get up, down, up. That's that breakout, fake out bar. Trying to sell the low of that bar or the close below. In most cases, all right. It's a little short and M. What time is this? 2:30. Nice. Okay, quite a bit of follow through, and then taking it back down to the low of the day, or ultimately. And if things are really moving, this is when I try to hold on. Looking at expansions of the range or expansions of that box. And obviously it's done that in hindsight, but it's just one way of looking at it. Okay. Let's go back to a 15-minute chart. Okay, so yesterday, breakout day. Today, we're in breakout, and the same exact thing as the NASDAQ. Do I really want to trade the direction on this when the trade has already kind of happened? Probably not. Okay. At least that's me personally. All right, S&P and the Russell. I'm not going to sit here and waste you all's time. It's the exact same thing. There is no change to the analysis. Wednesday was day 1, breakout day, week close, breakout pullback, trend continuation, trade setup. That's an actual setup today. Unfortunately, it looks like the S&P moved in the gap time, and the Russell did as well. Okay, we'll do gold before NFP. That's not going to help. Not going to help the stream at all. Getting little phone calls and stuff. Goodness gracious. All right, we're zooming out. Wow. Very first thing that came to my brain is, what do y'all think? What do you think I'm about to scream at the top of my lungs in sort of this? I'm not going to scream it. Too early for that. What in this kind of region over here? What are you seeing? And what is the context of that? Maybe some whipsaw, sure, but that whipsaw tells us something came in. Oh, is that where the movement came from? That would explain why they didn't move it until then. It was set up perfectly. They just waited to move it until 6. Day 0, peak formation, high, low. There we go. Good. So day 0 or a heartbeat pattern, whatever you'd like to call it. Some people would call it whipsaw, sure. But end of the day, peak formation high, peak formation low. They've made a high, they've made a low, and then they pulled back up on the inside. Now, we've been going up, and I've been using this sort of caveman terminology to be funny or cute or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But it works, and it helps. I think it helps. Market go up, all right? Market's been going higher, and now it's tried to go back down. All right, we also got a first red day on gold. Okay, so I'm going to project this close across, which is also the day's open, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull. Yep, right there. Okay. Peak formation high, peak formation low. I'm going to get this drawn in here. Market goes sideways. Yeah, exactly. Let's get this the right color. Yeah, that's not the right abbreviation. There we go. Previous day's close. All right, from 2 days ago, but we got a first red day on Thursday. Peak formation high, peak formation low. Does that mean it's going to go down today? No. However, this is a template. All right, peak high, peak low. We've been going up. We've gone sideways. We spiked up. We spiked down. We've cleared the board of longs and shorts, and now we're just sitting inside of a range. And that's what we're doing. We're just sitting inside of a range. Okay? We've tried to go back to the high. Maybe this is a lower high. All right, we've got a lower low. Maybe this is a lower high. I really don't know. Now, we're also in breakout of the previous week's high. We've been going up for quite some time. Breakout week 1, breakout week 2, 3. And this is 4 weeks of breakouts now. So all I can do is I can take this and I can say, maybe this is a lower low. Maybe this is a first red. It's not maybe this is a first red day. This, to me, is a first red day. We got a peak formation of the high of the week and a lower low, and they've closed below the open. And then I can go to today and say, maybe this is going to go down. So I would look for evidence or something that would tell me that. Now, we're about to get NFP. Maybe it just goes bonkers to the upside, and obviously I would be wrong. If it starts making lower lows and lower highs, though, maybe they, come down here and whip it down through the low of the day. We get a breakout, and we're going down towards the previous day's low. I've seen very, very similar and it might not even happen to today. Maybe today is just a wash. Maybe today's trash. We got this huge range, and then maybe it turns into a 3-day setup where it's peak formation low. Day 1 of the cycle, first red day. Day 2 maybe is an inside day. Depending on how today closes, maybe this is a Monday trade. So playing chess instead of checkers. I don't know. I just know to look for a market making lower lows and lower highs. Now, on the day itself, what has happened? Been making lower lows. We came back up. We started making higher highs. Okay, so we got a high now. We've got a low. They made a higher high. Okay, so I'd like them to at least start making lower lows. Before I would do anything with this, I would have to see them start making lower lows and lower highs again, because they've made that higher high on the day. All right, that's just how I do things. I want the structure of the day itself to be in alignment with, the trade that I'm about to take. All right, no reason to start shorting something, making higher highs and higher lows. That just does not make any sense to me. Oh, there's the, let's see, non-farm announcement. I'm on a 5-minute chart right now on gold. NASDAQ, honestly, not a crazy reaction. For such a large news announcement, to see it do literally nothing, okay. So, what does that tell me? All right. The market is just constantly feeding you information if you know what it's telling you and you just let it whisper in your ear a little bit. This tells me that, number one, either I don't have a trade, or two, I need to wait for 9:30. All right. Is there more news today? Okay, that's telling me something too. This guy's going to come out here at 11:25 and say hello into the mic, and then the market's going to do whatever it's going to do. All right, he's going to say good morning, and then the market's going to go vertical and up or down. All right, there's a lot of news. I've got to navigate very, very carefully because there might be a good trade at 9:30, maybe on gold, maybe on oil. I don't know. I haven't looked at oil yet. But understanding the news schedule helps me a lot to decide maybe today's just not the best day to take a trade. Maybe I need to let the template evolve into next week. Maybe there were some better trades at the beginning of the week, which I've already taken, which was great. I traded the front half of the week, and I thought maybe the back half of the week was also going to be good because of NFP. Waited for Friday, and then now we've got this news-littered nonsense, and the chart just doesn't look right. And it's telling me something, telling me, hey, maybe it's not the time. So we'll see. Let's keep going real quick. All right. I don't want to discount everything just yet. I want to look at y'all's currency pairs and things like that as well. Okay, so gold, we've already talked about this. I need to make it or see it make lower lows and lower highs. Maybe if today turned into like a breakout day to the downside, that'd be pretty cool too for Monday. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's go to oil. Dang, a lot of things. So that's my big thing, and I said this yesterday. I traded with my webinar folks again yesterday. When I come to the screen and it looks like it has moved in the gap time, it has moved a significant amount in the gap time. I am throwing up every red flashing light and flag because it's either a trap, a reversal, or they're going to just hold it in some kind of range, and it's going to really, you're going to get whipped out a lot of false moves. Little things like that, little timing pieces like that. When the day's range is already huge and I come to the screen, it's like, do I trade the trend for the continuation, or is it going to reverse? Or I start doing exactly what I just said, and it's like you're going to try and trade direction instead of, like we said on the NASDAQ, this is, market only does three things. We're in breakout down, breakout, pullback, trend. Beautiful. We get all the way down here. The move has already happened. Okay, are we going to break out, pull back, and continue to trend? Is it going to do what it's doing right now, which is maybe going back up towards the hot? Very difficult to find consistency doing that. You're going to get, especially in this volatility, holy cow, you're going to get wicked out a lot and all kinds of other silliness that I just don't want to be a part of. Okay, so again, oil, I can sit here and do all kinds of analysis and say this and that. I would be chasing. But let's take a look at it just for everybody maybe learning this. And maybe if you're new here, by the way, please let me know. Please let me know that you're coming to these streams when all of you people that are maybe a little bit newer or a bit more new, and I'll try to explain things a bit better. I know that these live streams are not really for people that are just brand new to trading or this system in general. If you want those videos, obviously I've got playlists over, two different playlists on my channel that will help you quite a bit, and I've tried to put them in order for you. However, let's go over and take a look. So we've got a failed breakout at the high of the current week, day one, and we've got a breakout to the downside. Day one breakouts down. So market go up, first red day, market go down, okay? And now we're in breakout to the downside. And then this day, obviously yesterday, what time is this? Yep, so look at this. This is exactly what I was just talking about. I'm glad to see that this, is kind of proving my point a little bit. Not to make this like a gotcha moment, but look how much this moved in the gap time coming into New York. And then the moment New York opens, it just goes sideways for 2 hours. And then in the third hour, it goes a little bit further and then it gives you that gotcha. And then what does it do? It just goes right back up and consolidates in the garbage zone, okay? We go right back to the landfill. That's why I don't really care for it, all right? Whenever I see things like this and you start chasing, this tends to happen a lot. Not my favorite. So seeing that yesterday and also just having seen that a few times, I don't like to see this. Anyways, day one breakouts, first red day. Day two breakouts. Day three breakouts. Maybe we're starting to develop a template, but just not for me. Top of the box bottom of the box, becomes the top of the box. The low of the day is supposed to become the bottom of the box, but that's a pretty wide range. Okay, you can see when I did my annotations up here from yesterday. Bottom of the box becomes the top of the box. Lower low, lower high. There was a little bit of continuation in London, which was great. Leading us into the day, not really too much. We got 3 days of breakouts. Definitely going to need to see market only does three things for me to want to take this reversal. All right, I'm not going to step in front of a freight train or something that's just falling, especially not this aggressively. All right, natural gas. Maybe we could find something a little bit better. For all of you that had, I appreciate that, Kyle. Good to see you in here. Let's see here. Natural gas. See if I can find something better. If you all I know someone said GU, but if you all want to see any other currency pairs, please let me know. I really don't like. I know I have natural gas up here because it was moving well not too long ago. So I thought maybe I was gonna start presenting some better templates again. That's a nice first green day. All right, we got breakout day one on Tuesday, down. So we got peak formation high for Monday, breakout day one, and they break out back up to the upside. So this is giving peak formation high beginning of week, peak formation low middle of week, and then now it looks like we traded back up into the high. And then now today making lower lows and lower highs. Man, this is triggered the... Ooh, okay. So we've triggered the previous day's low on this one. Peak high, peak low. And we've started to... we've kind of already gone outside of the channel, but look at this. First mouse, stop hunt to the high of the channel, ran it back down. This is perfect. It's very textbook, actually. Unfortunately, it's outside of the timing window. However, this leads us now into they've triggered the previous day's low in a market that has made potentially a lower low and a lower high. And maybe this breakout has failed. Okay, this is not a reach. This is me trying to find the template. All right, peak formation high, peak formation low, consolidation in the middle. They go back to the high and break out, and it possibly has now failed, triggering previous day's low. Maybe going back down towards the low of the week. which they actually almost triggered already. I don't know if I'll take anything on this, but I'd at least be willing to watch it, considering the other things have already moved so significantly, and there's no way that I think I'd be willing to trade those. This might not be a horrible option. We got the lower lows on the day, lower highs, and engulfments. The only thing I would wait for is commitment. These are some pretty big down close bars into the low. I'd like to see these people start getting rewarded. I want to see them make money. Let's let these shorts make money, and then maybe I'll be willing to get in. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, US CAD. Good deal. And someone said GU. Let me zoom out here real quick. Okay, Tuesday, peak formation low. Have we been going up or down? Up and then very, very sideways. Oh, we got a previous week's low being triggered here too. Little peak formation high, peak formation low action, and then a breakout this week. And then now we have pulled back down to previous week's high breakout level. However, we did trigger the previous week's or the previous day's low today as well. And that's interesting. So every time I get a breakout day close, I project that level across. Is the breakout going to succeed or is it going to fail? We triggered the previous day's low and pop back up. That could be interesting. I don't know who asked about GU, but again, so this is my thought process on every single thing that I trade. Market only does three things: trend, reverse, stay in a trading range. We've been going up. Okay, market triggered the previous day's low down here. So day one, day two, day three, peak formation high, turns back to day one. Day two, we've triggered the previous day's low. Are we going to continue to trend away from the high? I don't really have a signal date other than maybe this is turning into a 3-day opportunity where they trade the low down here at the low of the week and they've gone back to the high of the week. Is the breakout going to succeed or fail? That's the only thing I need to worry about. Is it going to succeed or is it going to fail? So if this starts to break down, and I think specifically if we broke down and started letting these shorts out aggressively, this turns into a box now. I would be looking for expansions of the box because we've triggered the previous day's low. Okay, that's the big thing for me, is that could be a lower low, and we'd start pushing back down towards here if that were to present. Now, I have no idea if it will. I'd have to wait and see. Gold is moving aggressively. Okay. Maybe. All right. Dollar CAD. I'm blind. And now I see. There we go. Oh. That's interesting. Okay, looks like we had a Tuesday first red day. Kind of similar to some of these others, except for, wow, this actually, so if this looks like it actually moved in London, but in a way that was tradable for anybody who trades London. First red day, day one of the cycle. Day two of the cycle was a first green day, which is triggering previous day's lows and things like that. That's probably a trap, right? Next day also triggers previous day's low and pulls back and then breaks out into the London session, into the third hour, or the second hour, excuse me. Breakout, fake out, bar, continuation. This is a really good trade, and also a template textbook setup on this for this type of day. Okay, that leads us into today, though. You know, what template or setup am I looking for over here? I really don't know. I don't think I can really do much on this. The only thing that could maybe happen is, hey, we're now in a... Again, keep it simple as simple as possible. We closed in breakout yesterday. I project that level across. This is now my low of week. I can either look for a trend trade or a reversal trade. Would I look for the reversal trade? Probably not. What I would look for is maybe 3 levels of rise back to the breakout level and a reversal. So if the market today started making lower lows and lower highs, I would go down here. I would look at structure and say, okay, this bar, we've gone lower. So maybe this is my high here. Maybe this is a decent low to look at. We break this, we start making lower lows and lower highs. I'd be willing to maybe take this as a trend opportunity in the direction of the breakout back down to the low of the week. Otherwise, I wouldn't do anything, personally. No, I don't do signals, Julio. It's very, so you have to understand it'd be very difficult to do that anyways, because I don't know that I'm about to take the trade until the bar forms, and then the moment it closes, I look at how, it's a very quick decision. How did it close? Did it close and break out? Whatever. And then I click the button, and the market's supposed to jump and start moving. So if I were to put that into a signal form or whatever, the market should have already moved. By the time I type all that stuff in 3 minutes, it could have moved, 50 points. And that would just be really counterproductive for you all. So I opt for the teach a man to fish mentality. Let's see if I can teach the mindset, which is what I'm trying to do right now, obviously, so that everybody can just know how to do it on their own. At least that's the dream. That's the idea. All right, was there any other pairs you all wanted to see? Good stuff, Julio. It is a very quick decision. Yep. The way the chart looks could change very quickly to me. Can't wait for the 21st. Yep. Hey, next webinar is running on the 21st. If anybody would like to join, please let me know. Just a quick plug on that. I appreciate that, RD. Good stuff. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go get my chart set up, and I am actually trading with the webinar group again today. So I'll see you all again, next week. Every single week I do these for anybody who's in here just kind of watching in the background. I do these Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 a.m. Eastern time. I have a video coming out on Monday. I try to do videos every Monday now, live form content or long form content, to keep the learning going. Appreciate you all being here. This has been a good stream. You have a great rest of your day, great rest of your weekend. Good luck with the trading session. I'm going to get my screen set up here and get it going, get set up for the... Hey, if you want to do the webinar, just message me on Discord or something like that. We'll talk about it, okay? You have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Yep, 21st April.